well, in my household, like, everybody was really open with each other. So talking about sex was, I guess they approached it lightly at first, and then as we grew older and into adolescence, then they started to get a little bit more explicit. But yeah, they talked to us about sex. I mean, most of it was don't do it. Most of it was if you do it, be careful and always use protection.
My mom, I grew up with just my mother, and she sort of told me, because I always grew up as a huge reader, so she just slipped in a book and was like, here you go, read this. And afterwards she's like, if you have any questions, let me know. But at that age, I really wasn't into it, so I was just like, nah, it's okay.
My dad, I don't know, I guess it would be like the stereotypical like father-son talk where my dad's like, you know, he doesn't really want to talk about it, but he had to talk about it anyway. So he's like, so you want to, like, you know about sex, right? Yeah. Okay. Then he stands up and he leaves.
Yes, my parents did, and the advice they gave me was how to have sex. Not what happens with sex, but what and how to do it. They told me where to take my private area to stick into a female's private area. My father explained not to put it in the first hole you see, which is the female's belly button, but it was the actual to go under to, you know, yeah.
All I ever got, honestly, from my parents was wear protection. And my dad was always like, yeah, you know, you should have as much fun and experience as possible in life. And when I told my mother for the first time that I had sex, was before I had to go to the doctor about something related to it, she was kind of like destroyed. She was like shocked. And this was years ago. But I never got any formal thing apart from just be careful.
You know, I would just go to my parents and be like asking them different things, like, hypothetically, Mom, if I did have sex. The advice that they gave me was, Jess, if you do have sex, we trust your judgment kind of thing. And if you do have it, then that's your own personal choice. But if you have it before marriage, I mean, we don't really approve of it, but if you feel like it's the right person, then, you know, you can go right ahead. But personally, I'm just like, I'll wait.
My father, one day while he was teaching me how to drive, just made sure to say, like, son, just make sure you wrap it before you tap it. And that was pretty much the Roger sex talk.
I was talking about birth control pills to get, well, I have them, but I told her I'm going to stop taking them. And the reason why is because I felt I was having heart palpitations a lot. So she said, well, you won't need them if you wear a raincoat when it rains. So that's the only advice like she gave me, but we never really talked about it.
I know they would always be like, yeah, just don't do sex. Don't do any of that. Or like when I would speak to them about what my friends were doing, because we were open about that, they would just be like, they would always get really awkward, and they're like, yeah, don't do that. That's all. Even when I ask why, they're like, just don't. But then I had this one talk with my dad, and he's like, I always thought that sex was something that was really dirty, just how they were talking about it. But then later on, I realized that it was actually like, how cliche it might sound, but it's actually a beautiful thing. And I do want to wait for it. But if they didn't like talk to me about it, I probably wouldn't have had this view about sex.